And the thing is in the beginning of the book, the second chapter, she goes into like the different studies that they did to that this is not something that we're inherently not born with a human, human exceptionalist type of framework. We're taught that through mother culture or, because originally I think the tests they did were like on 5 or 6 year olds, and they thought that, okay, no, it's just human nature. Based on these 5 and 6 year olds, it's kind of just like human nature for us to think that we're exceptional. But when some researcher discovered a way to do a test on 3 year olds, they found that it wasn't necessarily the case. And also the other thing that I found was interesting was like the degrees of it, because like at a certain age they said that they did that test. You remember where it was like there's 2 boats or a boat and 2 boats, and one has humans on it and the other boat has dogs or pigs on it, where if you had a choice, like you had to choose one to save, which one would you save? Well, the adults would prioritize one human over, I think it was up to 100. I don't know if the number went higher than that. I just remember she meant, so they would let 100 dogs die to save one human. Whereas like basically the younger the age that they tested, the more they wouldn't prioritize human life. Like they would, I forgot what, there was a certain age group that was like, if it was like 10 dogs, versus one human, they'd rather save the 10 dogs. And then I think the lowest age group like didn't really differentiate between like a dog and a human. If there was one dog and one human, was like a.
So what conclusion did she draw from that?
Ultimately that this is something that we learned, and the actual chapter of the title of that chapter is the unlearning curve. So basically the conclusion that she's that she's coming to, at least from what I gather, is essentially we were taught human exceptionalism, so it's possible for us to be untaught or unlearned. We learned human exceptionalism through our culture,